Coming up on this WorldPride edition of Outlook TV, Bent Lens with Laverne Cox, Castaloma and a day of wedding bliss, the World Dyke March featuring some serious knitting, and much, much more.
Welcome to Outlook TV. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And I'm Dan Doomshaw. Today we're coming to you from WorldPride in Toronto,
where it is hot out, just matching all the hot of the action.
Look at all these people here. The energy is ramping up for the big parade tomorrow, and we've got all the hottest stories for you from WorldPride.
And we're going to take you first to the opening ceremonies, which were held at Nathan Phillips Square.
To be here with you, with my partner Jane. We are honored to be here with you.
There's nobody like you, baby. There's nobody like you. Beautiful and perfect, just like you are. Beautiful and perfect, LGBTQI, LMNOP, whatever you are. Somewhere over the rainbow, birds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why there no one can if happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I?
So Dan, how good is your French?
Petit peu.
Okay, so my French is not bad, except my accent is abysmal. The next story we're bringing you is about Newi Rose.
Newi Rose, the Night of the Rose. Yes, this is a festival that happened in Toronto coinciding with WorldPride.
Yes, contemporary art festival, and it roped around, and we're going to follow it with Gorgeous.
I'm here with John Rubino, one of the members of the Throbbing Rose Collective, also one of the organizers of Newi Rose. John, tell us a little bit about what's happening here in Toronto tonight.
Okay, well, Newi Rose is a contemporary art event. It's a queer event happening for one night on West Queen West and Church Street.
Right.
And it consists of a number of events, contemporary art events, performances, interventions, installations. Basically, what we wanted to do is we wanted to inject a kind of edgy, contemporary art feeling to Pride, to WorldPride. This is the first time we're doing Newi Rose, and we hope that it'll happen again. But we wanted to bring a new element to WorldPride, to the party of WorldPride, but to build on that party with the artists that are so much a part of the gay and queer scene.
Tell us a little bit about some of your pieces.
Oh my God, well, the collection is called Icons and Demigods, and it's been a work in progress. It's a collaborative series I've worked on for many years, probably 15 or so, and it's basically influences from the past millennium, pop and subculture influences of mine.
Let's look at a couple of the pieces and tell us what the influences are, where it comes from.
Sure. Well, it's again like sort of many of my influences that have sort of, I guess, inspired me as an artist. So I do drag as well. So there's male and female images. I like breaking those boundaries down. And basically it's a lot of like 70s, 80s, 90s influences for me. A lot of, you know, like rock influences as well as pretend people and things like that. We've got Posh Spice, Michael Stipe, Kurt Cobain, Depeche Mode, Morrissey, Billy Idol, Michael Jackson, Joan Jett, Culture Club, on and on and on. So there's a lot of like sort of, like I said, rock stuff as well as different artistic people like a Diane Arbus photo, James Dean, Eraserhead, Andy Warhol, who I draw a lot from. Andy Warhol for me is sort of like the artist who's eclipsed art in my generation, and sort of, for me, offered many outlets to express myself.
I'm so excited to have bumped into James Fowler here at the 519 Community Center tonight for Newi Rose. What an absolute pleasure. Tell us a little bit about your role as one of the co-founding members of Newi Rose.
We started this back in, I think, November of last year. There were about 4 or 5 of us, kind of a small group, and we started putting it out to the community. We wanted to do queer contemporary art kind of project at night, and there's certainly an appetite for it in Toronto, because we do have a really great Nuit Blanche, but that's in the winter and it's very cold, so we want to do something in the summer, very gay, lots of glitter, lots of fun, lots of color, and so we started to do a call for submissions, and we had hundreds of people come out and ask us, hey, we'd like to be part of it. We got some funding from the Ontario Arts Council and the Toronto Arts Council. It's the first year that's happening, and it's been an amazing turnout.
I'm very jealous that Barb Snellgrove got to town a day before I did, because it means she got to do the interview with Laverne Cox.
Well, we can't all do those heavy-hitting star interviews. She got to do that because she was attending a festival called Bent Lens, and that's where TIFF and the Inside Out Festival come together in a collaboration for Pride.
What an amazing event we've got going here. Bent Lens, TIFF, and Pride on Screen.
TIFF has a long history of supporting queer filmmakers and films. Inside Out is all about queer filmmakers and films, so we joined forces to provide some really interesting, different, and unique cultural programming connected to WorldPride.
We wanted to kind of do a little bit of past, present, future, look back on some of the kind of really influential voices in Canadian and international cinema, like Derek Jarman and Bruce LaBruce, who are the subjects of full retrospectives here at TIFF Bell Lightbox, as well as celebrate contemporary artists.
Amazing panel you've got tonight.
I've had the great pleasure of being Laverne's friend for a few years now because of her work with us at GLAAD, where I'm the national spokesperson, and so we're just, two girlfriends having a chat today on stage in front of 500 people. I did this the other day on Sunday afternoon with Lee Daniels, and it went really great, and I try to get to what makes them tick and why they love doing what they love and what's important to them, and seeing what's coming up next for them.
With the Time magazine cover, what an amazing opportunity to create a public discussion with regards to gender fluidity and trans rights.
And there's a lot of Trans 101 that happens in the article. There's lots of people's stories that we read in the article that are really important. And there's so many people who weren't included, and so many stories that are not included, and so many issues that we weren't able to tackle in that article. But hopefully it's a catalyst for conversation. Absolutely. And hopefully trans people, more than anything, and they already are believing that it really is a tipping point, that they can come forward and be themselves and live authentically, and that their voices will be heard.
As part of her advocacy work, Laverne is also producing the documentary Free C.C. McDonald.
C.C. McDonald is an African-American trans woman who served 19 months of a 41-month prison sentence in a men's prison in St. Cloud, Minnesota, for defending herself against a racist and transphobic attack. And so the film is about her story, her interactions with the criminal justice system and dealing with incarceration, the inhumanity of incarceration. And it's also about the culture of violence against trans women. So often, consistently, the highest homicide rates, highest rates of violence in the LGBTQ community are amongst trans women.
For Outlook TV, this is Barb Snellgrove.
We're going to take a break now so Dan and I can go mingle with this crowd.
We hope to see you in a short bit, because we've got lots more of Toronto Pride to cover.
Hi, I'm Laverne Cox, and you're watching Outlook TV.
Welcome back. You're watching Outlook TV. And now Dan is going to tell us a story from his personal history.
Well, when we were walking past this area, I looked at the steps behind us, and I remembered that pre-Grindr, these steps in Toronto used to be leading up to a coffee shop, and that's where people would go to cruise. So that's where you would go to see who's hanging out and who's available.
So it's a deja vu moment for you.
Well, I just saw the steps, and it brought back memories of me being in high school, getting up the courage to walk by those stairs and kind of see who else was gay.
And speaking of figuring out who else is gay, there is an Oxfam speakers series here where people come from across the world to talk about LGBTQ rights.
As part of WorldPride 2014, Oxfam Canada presents Break Another Silence. a panel discussion featuring voices and victories from LGBTQI movements around the world.
Human rights are a fundamental belief in all of the work that we do. And part of that is the right for people to have an identity and have that identity respected. And that includes LGBTI rights.
What are the conditions like in Zimbabwe for LGBTI people at the moment?
There is no rule of law in Zimbabwe anymore, and the police do not follow the laws, people just do not follow the laws, nobody respects the rights of every individual. Just recently, a transgender woman was arrested for using a toilet, and she was taken to court for just using a toilet. She walked into a toilet written ladies, and she was arrested. She was arrested by a member of the public who thought that she was not meant to use that toilet.
As a trans person, you cannot even go and report issues to the police, issues around sexual violence, because you are afraid you will be arrested.
We work a lot with the media, the law and advocacy makers, and professors and teachers from schools and students, young people. And we do with the LGBT communities in all over Vietnam. We have the capacity and leadership, building capacity, so that they can be the young leader in our future.
Just individuals in general need to speak up and support our other communities, because we matter. We contribute to the society, and when we're down and out, sometimes we can't take care of that, and we're not able to do as well as everybody else. But we can contribute and have gifts to share with one another. So if someone is out there on the street, they may have a cure for cancer, but we're not giving them that opportunity to bring that gift and share that gift.
Y otra cosa que me gustó, en el nuevo Consejo de Estado,
council member, a new one. He is a gay intellectual, and it's the first time that someone gay is chosen as a member of the state council.
We don't have a pride parade like in another country because we don't decide that. But we have a big march in this journal against homophobia, but we call it Conga against homophobia. Conga is like a form of a cultural express in Cuba.
I'd like to thank all of you for coming.
For Outlook TV, I'm Scott McInnes.
So up next we have my story about the Dyke March.
Oh, the Dyke March. There's always a Dyke March.
Always.
But you got to interview someone who was very important in this Dyke March, didn't you?
I did. I got the opportunity to interview Olivia Chow, and she is so fabulously nice and wonderful. It was kind of a dream come true.
Cool, let's watch.
I am attending the 18th annual Toronto Dyke March, and it is huge this year because it is WorldPride. They were estimating that there's going to be about 5,000 people here. Do you know how many dykes that is? 5,000.
Well, we normally have 2,000 for Toronto. We were estimating 5,000, and I feel like it was bigger than that.
Yeah, I'd say about close to 7.
Yeah.
7 or 8.
7,
yeah. Yeah.
7,000.
What did you do to amp up for this being WorldPride?
There were a couple things. One of them was we had a banner making project. So we had weekly craft circles where people learned how to knit or crochet or taught those skills, and we made all of the banners that led the march.
We also have our something called our We March campaign, and it's sort of our hashtag campaign, and basically we ask the public why they march in the Dyke March. A lot of them, I don't feel safe walking down in the village alone. A lot of them I march for those folks that can't march and things like that. So it really told the story of why the Dyke March is so diverse.
So I've been about at least 8 years now. So when it was really, really young, you know, and it was no corporate sponsors and didn't look like this. Okay, so it was, but it was very radical, but grassrooty, and it was really what the cause was about.
Is this your first time in the Toronto Dyke March?
It is, yes.
Yes, absolutely. First time in Toronto too.
First time in Toronto, period. And what an introduction, WorldPride. How do you feel about being in the Dyke March today?
Oh, every year. There's so much joy, so much celebration, and so much pride. It's just absolutely wonderful.
And Next up, Scott McInnes dares to stand out.
Dare to Stand Out was a 2-day summit bringing together Canada's national gender and sexuality minority service providers.
We're here today at Dare to Stand Out, a national summit for Canadian service providers to gender and sexual minorities. Today, we'll be talking to some of the presenters at the summit, as well as the summit organizers.
First time I heard of this. First time you heard of radical intimacy. Okay. We're at the Service Provider Summit, where we're here gathered together to learn and share expertise, share insights, share experience. And so the sense I'm getting really is that people are so eager and so thirsty and hungry for this kind of information.
Every single day of the school year, Jared's Vision goes into schools across our country, in every province and territory, and we run free workshops to teach and how to address homophobia and transphobia, bullying, discrimination. And we make our schools safer. We also run about 30 conferences across our country, nationally and locally, in every province and territory, and we also run the Day of Pink, the International Day to Stop Bullying, Discrimination, Homophobia and Transphobia, the second Wednesday of April. And we also run 3 national conferences, of which the Gender and Sexual Minority Services are one of them.
And then it makes sense for us to connect with other people.
The idea really is that this is a conference for service providers, by service providers, to share best practices, because Canada is so large that there's amazing work being done all across the country, but we very rarely get a chance to come together and actually share what we're all doing so that we're not duplicating resources or reinventing the wheel every time.
So I want to start because we've had... I've just been attending the summit all day, and doing the presentation today has been an incredible process. It was always the woman who controlled the money and the household. So in a sense, women have always subverted and challenged patriarchy in a very interesting way.
We are going to have to take a break from all this non-stop action.
But you should come back and join us because we've got tons more of WorldPride just after this.
Hey world, my name is Betty Ford from Entertainment, and you are watching Outlook TV. Outlook TV, Outlook TV, Outlook TV.
You know what else happened at WorldPride?
What?
100 people, more than 100 people tied the knot at Castaloma.
So like 200, like 100 couples, or like 100 people?
Over 100 couples.
Well, let's go to Gary Wolfatter to find out more.
I'm Gary at Castaloma for a celebration of love, part of WorldPride. 110 GLBT couples will be married today.
A friend of ours was playing a song, Marry Me Maybe, as I got down on my knee and proposed. I said, let's make it official tomorrow. I've got the license and I've got the matching ring, so if you're ready, we can do it.
I'm just kind of in shock. It was not something we were invited for WorldPride. We knew we were going to be here for WorldPride. Like he said, he gave me the matching ring and said, will you marry me tomorrow at the castle? And what princess doesn't want to get married at a castle, right?
Couples came to Castaloma from around the world. This Filipino couple had a long-distance relationship before a sponsorship.
Survived the last 2 years through FaceTime, but sorry, go ahead. So that was March, and then I went to see her in person June. It's easier for me to see her than her coming here. And then last year I sponsored her as a conjugal partner. So the timing is perfect because we made it through Pride, Pride Week. Yeah, I was so happy that we made it here. I'm so proud to be part of the history.
We've been together for almost 8 years now, and we just decided that it was time for us to finally get married. We've been engaged for a little over a year. We were just kind of waiting for the right opportunity. In Michigan, it's not legal for us to get married yet. We recognize federally, but not by our state specifically. Like we'll be able to file joint taxes and such.
Right now, since we're here for Pride, this is kind of like the vacation and with friends, and this is kind of like the mini honeymoon, I guess I would put it.
We live in Toronto now. We moved here from Hawaii about 18 years ago because they didn't recognize our relationship there. This is just the beginning. We'll see what happens.
And guess what? I got my diamond ring.
We say yes to welcome, to hope, and possibility.
Now you will feel no cold, for each of you will be warmth to the other.
12 officiants of different faiths will marry the couples today.
And mingle in this marriage.
Be enlightened and emboldened.
In the company of family and friends. Every loving relationship, heal your hearts, the beating.
Keep each other close to you.
I find gay weddings are very meaningful because often the couple has lived together for 20 years and all of a sudden they have the chance to get married, and their vows are far more meaningful than I've often had at heterosexual weddings.
Outlook TV congratulates the couples on their vows and celebration of love.
So the next story, Dan, is yours. You got to go to the House of Venus.
That's right. It was their 20th anniversary, and I got real up close and personal. Well, here we are in WorldPride at the Bud Light South Stage, where Rising Venus is about to start. This is House of Venus's 20th anniversary, and they are bringing it on, and it is hot. Let's check it out. What can audiences expect tonight here at Venus Rising?
Well, an out-of-this-world performance. We've had a lot of shows going on already. Some local. We're getting ready for some of our international talent, which we're so excited about. Hercules and Love Affair and Peaches and local entertainment. Betty Ford from the legendary kind of girl rap rock band called Stinkmed, and DJ Dickie Doo, who's the original DJ maestro for the House of Venus.
And I understand this is a big year for House of Venus, the 20th anniversary?
It's true. This is our 20th anniversary. We have had 20 years of the House of Venus being Canada's like original sort of drag house, film house, fashion house, and art house. So we're so excited to be a part of WorldPride, and we're celebrating here with the Venus Rising stage. We're so excited!
How are you going to delight this crowd?
I have a trip through memory lane of House Pride disco classics.
This is the 20th anniversary.
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
It means that yes, exactly. You know, it means a lot to me because it's hard to believe how fast 20 years can go by and how much we've seen change, and you have to remember at the end of the day how much has changed for the better overall.
I'm just happy that I get to celebrate my 20th birthday at the same time as 20th anniversary is happening.
I feel so honored. The year we started. I gave birth to her the year we started.
I was 1 year old when it started, so it's an honor for me.
Alexi, what do you have to do with House of Venus?
Well, House of Venus is the mother house of all love. It's the intergalactic planetary of graciousness and gorgeousness. House of Venus has represented gay, queer, and trans communities so appropriately. They have been all about love, and especially for the trans community, because we've always felt excluded from a lot of things. And I know Mother Venus, Miss Cotton, she's always been a loving arm and has extended herself to be so kind and gracious. That's what the House of Venus is about.
Here we are with Peaches as she's getting ready for her big show. What's a WorldPride message that you've got?
More boobs. We need more boobs. That's my big WorldPride message, y'all. We need more boobs.
You heard it here first. Great t-shirt.
Thanks. I know. So we have a song called Born of Rob Ford, and I really wanted to wear an Olivia Chow t-shirt because I'm obviously a big supporter of her. I feel like you can't just bitch about something, you have to be proactive as well, right?
What WorldPride message do you have for our viewers out there?
We have come so far since, I don't want to say exactly how old I am. It's been amazing over 25 years to see how far we've come, to see that WorldPride is a big festival that everybody in the city, except for one person who isn't here, thankfully, supports and gets behind.
From here in the heart of Toronto at the WorldPride celebration, it's been amazing to watch the House of Venus celebrate their 20th anniversary by bringing love and joy to all these people. For Outlook TV, I'm Dan Doomshaw. Back to me.
Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this, our first WorldPride episode.
But there was so much happening in WorldPride here in Toronto that we are going to bring you more stories in our next episode.
And then another episode after that even.
We just can't stop.
So in the meantime, why don't you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and if you'd like to volunteer for us, please do.
I'm Dan Doomshaw.
And I'm Rebecca Wyman.
Stay fabulous, Canada.